This is the Louie T Network.
Then my team was. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the divisional round of the postseason in the National Football League 2017 NFL playoffs. What did I tell you? And you know, I told you, I'm one that if I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong. But when I'm right, you're going to know I'm right. I went on Twitter before the game started. I told you this in the breakdown. This wasn't going to be close. I've been watching football all season long. I've been watching these two teams very closely. I told you this wasn't going to be close. The Seahawks limped into the playoffs. And although last week was impressive with that offensive line, don't kid yourself. This was not a good offensive football team. Haven't been for the majority of this season. After that game in New England, I would say that was the last impressive performance offensively that this team had, or a complete game, I should say. They had an impressive performance against Buffalo. And I'd like to think that that Buffalo Monday night game was a little bit later than the New England game on Sunday night. I could be wrong. Either way, they haven't been impressive of late. All of those signs were there, the warning signs. Now, look, there were stop signs and red lights all over the place. And if you were a Seahawks fan, you just ignored them and you drove right past them, okay? And I get it. I understand. But don't be blind to the warning signs. They were there. The close game at the end of the season when you needed to nail down the 3 seed against San Francisco. That's not good. The home loss to Arizona. That's not good. Losing to Tampa Bay. That's not good. They were struggling. Were the Seattle Seahawks. And so to say that I didn't see this one coming, I'd be lying to you. I told you this was coming. MVP. 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 Can we get that damn MVP chant going, please? Can we? I told you who I thought was going to win the MVP already. I told you this about 3 weeks to a month ago, okay? I've already turned my ballot in. It's got Matt Ryan's name on it. I told you that then, and I'm just waiting for them to announce it now. He was spectacular in this game. We'll get to all of the particulars in this football game here in a second. But first, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2016, 2017, and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting the subscribe button on YouTube to become a member of the Louie T Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. Like I said, I've been on Twitter quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. And if you want to be in tune to what's going on, make sure you follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room. It's the Twitter handle. Also, I'm on Facebook, In The Lab Room. It's a Facebook page. All of my social media platforms right there, scrolling in the screen so you can't miss them. Go ahead, take care of business. Let's talk about this football game and this outcome. Falcons get it done 36-20 over the Seattle Seahawks in a game that really the score doesn't indicate how much of an ass whooping this really was. If not for Devin Hester, this score might have been somewhere along the lines of 7-36. Devin Hester had a huge game, and if not for the penalties, this could be a different game. I don't know. Devin Hester, like I said, at the halftime break, was phenomenal in this game. Had another big return that set up the final points of the game for the Seattle Seahawks to make it 20 and give them a chance to kick an onside kick. But that being said, this was total domination on the part of the Atlanta Falcons. And I told you my sister, I've been talking about my sister all year long with this Falcons football team and how she's a huge fan. And after that initial drive, 8 minutes, 36 seconds of the first quarter clock that the Seattle Seahawks ate up, she was over there crying, boo-hooing. Oh my God, I told you about this defense there. I said, it's the first possession. Hell, a lot of teams look great on the first possession. Look at the game last week with the Giants and the Green Bay Packers. The Giants look great on those opening 2 possessions. When you get to script those first 15 plays, man, do you come out sharp. What happened to the Giants after that? Look, man, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And I told my sister, I said, look, it doesn't matter that they just scored. Just respond. They can't keep up with you. They can't keep pace. Their offense isn't built to score 30 anything, okay? 30 nothing. Their offense isn't built like that. And this is not the same defense because Earl Thomas isn't on this defense. It's a totally different defense. So they're not going to create any turnovers. They're not going to force you into some mistakes. they're an average defense without Earl Thomas, and the offense isn't built to last, okay? So they can't score 36. They can't score 33. They can't score 30. So if you just keep scoring, they can't stop you. Go and respond right now. Let them know that little touchdown that they scored, that's nothing. If you think you're going to beat us, then you're going to have to keep doing that all game long. All night long, all night, all night long. You're going to have to do that all night. And the Seahawks can't. They can't keep up. And I told my sister, relax. You're going to go back, get your 7 back, and then you're going to do these boys. And what did they do? It took a little while. Got the touchdown back. Seahawks went back down the field, got a field goal. And like I said at the halftime break, to me, the game-changing play was the penalty they called on Kevin Pierre-Louis, or as I like to call him, Kevin Pierre-Louie. They called that whole, and like I said, it was the one on him. It was the one on Richard Sherman. Dick Sherman got away with 1-2. It didn't matter. Either way, they were going to be backed up deep in their own territory. 2 plays later, Russell Wilson is stepped on by his offensive guard, and he shouldn't have even been in the game if they didn't have an injury to Jermaine Ifedi. He's not in, but that's nor here nor there. Steps on his foot. He falls down in the end zone, and Ben Garland gets the safety on Russell Wilson. And to me, that's where the game was changed. It was never the same. And after that, the Falcons took off running. They got the field goal after that free kick in the great field position, took the lead at 10-12 or 12-10, and they never looked back in this game. Matt Ryan was spectacular, like I said at the top of the show, spreading the football around judiciously to everybody that was wearing an eligible jersey. Everybody got involved. Everybody got some. Whether it was one of the backs out of the backfield, you got a touchdown to Tevin Coleman on a pass. You had touchdowns to check 1-2-1-2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu getting in. Julio Jones starting it off. I mean, Matt Ryan was on fire, which is ironic because he's so damn cold, is Matty Ice. And tonight, he was cold-blooded. And the Seahawks had to find out why this man will be hoisting the MVP trophy in just a matter of weeks. He was phenomenal in this game, didn't make any mistakes. Had a couple of plays where you're like, hey, man, you need to be a little bit more careful around you and be a little bit more aware of your surroundings. There were a little bit of trash around him. He did have a fumble. Luckily, the Falcons had an offensive lineman there to fall on the football. That could have been a disaster. But other than that, Matt Ryan was phenomenal in this game. Used his legs to escape the pocket and create plays. I thought he was tremendous in this game. The running game, it wasn't great, but it was really, really good. It was exactly what I was looking for. Balance. Don't overdo it with the pass game. Don't fall in love with the pass game. This is what you used to do under Dirk Cutter when you would have huge leads and the defense wasn't good enough to hold them, and Matt Ryan would come out and throw it when you should be running it with Michael Turner. That's dead. Run the football, be balanced. That's what they were in this game. And like I said, there isn't a better two-headed monster running backfield in the league than that of Devontae Freeman. Devontae Free, and of course, TC, Tevin Coleman. Those boys did what they had to do out of the backfield in this game. He spread the football around. You get a little sighting of Justin Hardy there. They try to take a catch from him. He's like, man, give me my damn catch, man. Stop playing. Doug Gabriel getting involved. They isolated the backs out of the backfield. A great throw by Matt Ryan to Devontae Freeman. He's able to make a guy miss and get up the field, set up another point-scoring opportunity. It was just a really well-orchestrated game by Kyle Shanahan, which is why I know a lot of Falcons fans didn't want to see this man leave. And I don't think he's going anywhere. You're going to get him for at least one more season. And you better take advantage of it because what you have right now in Atlanta is special offensively. And you've got all the weapons you need. Gabriel, Hardy, Julio, Mohamed Sanu, they're all there. Then the backs out of the backfield just puts the icing on top. And then if you're looking for a little bit of a cherry, you can either throw in Hooper or you can throw in Levine Toilolo. So you've got weapons everywhere in this offense. Patrick DeMarco even catching a pass or two out of the backfield. It was a party, man. Fiesta, fiesta, fiesta. Fiesta, fiesta, fiesta. Y'all know what it is, man. I don't have to tell y'all. Y'all know how this goes, man. You already know. And I told you before the game started that this was going to be a blowout. I did not think Seattle was good enough defensively to slow down the most high-octane and explosive offense in the league this season, and they weren't. And I did not think that Seattle was good enough offensively to score the amount of points that it was going to take to win, and they couldn't. So my prediction came to fruition. The Falcons move on. Let's talk about the Seahawks briefly and move on to some of your comments for this football game. They got off to a great start, did the Seattle Seahawks. Like I said, 8-minute, 36-second drive in the first quarter, very first drive of the game, eat up half of the first quarter clock. That was going to be the way they were going to win this game, by the way. If they were going to win, they were going to have to slow the pace of this game down, limit the amount of possessions. And I told you, in the breakdown, I actually said we've seen teams do this to Atlanta this year, which got them out of offensive sync. Philadelphia was the most notable game that came to my mind of a team grinding the Atlanta Falcons to a halt, making the game mucky and yucky, and not allowing the offense of the Falcons to get into an offensive rhythm, and then slowing down the pace of the game, limiting the amount of possessions the Falcons had offensively, and then force a turnover or two, and voila, you get yourself a W. That's what it was going to take for Seattle to get it done. And early on, they had the blueprint. They got the touchdown on the opening possession, ate up half of the first quarter clock. Both teams only possessed the football once in the first quarter. That's exactly how you wanted to draw it up if you're Seattle. We don't want a ton of possessions. We don't want Atlanta having the football 6 times in the first half and another 5 in the second half, because if they do, they're going to score 30-something points, and we can't score that many points. So that first quarter went exactly to plan, and then you have the penalties. And I think that's what really hurt them in this game. Devin Hester had a bunch of big returns, and they were basically all called back with the exception of the last one that set up the touchdown. You can't have those types of mistakes. The Kevin Pierre-Louis penalty, like I said, that's a game changer right there. That's the one that really hurt you. And again, if they didn't call it on him, they should have been calling Dick Sherman for the penalty anyway. But in any event, the penalties hurt, and then the offense went to sleep. They went night-night, and give some credit to the Falcons defense. I need to touch on this before I move on. Brooks Reed was phenomenal in this game, okay? Ricardo Allen was phenomenal in this game. Deion Jones, you know how I feel about Deion Jones, man. You know how I feel about my boy Deion Jones. So these guys were out hitting. You know what was so impressive to me in this game for the Falcons? And I told my sister, I said, look, your defense is young, but they're getting better. This is what I told her. I said, man, your defense is flying around. Man, you know what I didn't realize? How athletically gifted this Falcons defense was. And I'm not talking about the linebackers. We know Devondre Campbell is fast. We know Deion Jones is fast. We know Keanu Neal can run. We know that this is a fast defense in the back half. But how about these defensive linemen? How about Brooks Reed? How about Jonathan Babineau chasing down Russell Wilson, man? There was athleticism being displayed everywhere at every level of this Falcons defense, and those boys were physical. They were coming. They were bringing extra hats to the party. I loved the defensive intensity. This is what your head coach was looking for when he started to assemble this defense. Fast athletes rallying to the football. Look, if the first guy don't get him, the second guy will, and he will come with a physicality that is unmatched by the opponent. And Dan Quinn had to be smiling ear to ear because the Falcons out-physicaled the Seattle Seahawks. That doesn't happen very often, but they were the more physical team defensively, which you don't expect to hear, and they dominated offensively, and that's how you get an ass whipping. When you dominate on those two facets of the game. Now, they didn't win special teams, okay? Seattle won special teams. If not for the penalties, special teams would have been very lopsided in the favor of the Seattle Seahawks, but they dominated offense and defense, and that's how you win, running away like the Falcons were winning at one point in this game, 36-13. So let's get back to Seattle, though. Looking at this Seattle Seahawks team, they had the blueprint. They just couldn't go out and execute. The offensive line was not good. I talked about one of the breakdowns at halftime, turning Brooks Reed just loose. No one touches him. The tackle doesn't touch him. The guard is doubling down with the center and doesn't come off of that double team fast enough. Brooks Reed gets a free shot at Russell Wilson, and it forces a sack and forces them to have to settle for a field goal in a situation where they had just scored a touchdown on the opening possession. They were moving it again, and they were well on their way to getting another 7, and that really derailed and killed that drive and forced them to have to settle for a field goal. And that's what happens when you have an inexperienced offensive line that isn't very good, and you have them going up against a team that's hot in the Falcons. and they struggled in this game. The offensive line, for as good as they played last week against Detroit, they were equally as bad in this football game. Russell Wilson was under duress the entire game. Again, give credit to the Atlanta Falcons defensive front, whether it was Brooks Reed, who had a sensational game, or it was Jonathan Babineau, or it was Vic Beasley. They were chasing Russell Wilson around and making him uncomfortable, and it worked to perfection in this football game. Seattle had no answer. I didn't think they got enough out of the ground game. Russell Wilson had to basically try to do it on his own, and it just wasn't enough in this football game. They needed to sustain offense. They needed to eat up the clock. They needed to shorten the length of this game, shorten the amount of possessions. They just simply weren't able to do that on the offensive side. And on the defensive side of the football, too many injuries. Deshaun Shedd goes down. Remember, this was a 19-10 game at halftime. Then Deshaun Shedd goes down. Then you have another injury. I want to say it might have been Jeremy Lane. I don't remember who it was. I don't think it was. No, Lane was in at the end when Mohamed Sanu caught the touchdown. I don't know who the other injury was, but it was another injury to another Seahawk defender. You're already without Earl Thomas. You were behind the 8 ball coming in. Remember, the first time you played the Falcons, when you had a healthy full cupboard of defenders, they still lit you up in that football game. So not having Earl Thomas, not having everybody healthy, not having all hands on deck, you already knew you were in for a world of trouble. And that is exactly what you got in this football game. Didn't sustain the run, weren't able to stop the Falcons at all on third downs or stop them from getting. How about you force them to kick a field goal every now and again? That'd be nice, right? Stop giving up touchdowns all the goddamn time. They couldn't. This defense is a shell of itself, and the Falcons took full advantage, and they get it done 36-20, advancing to the NFC Championship game. And let's see who the opponent will be. Will they get another home game? Will the Georgia Dome live for one more week? Or will this be the last time they turn the lights out for the Atlanta Falcons in the Georgia Dome? We will see after tomorrow's game, Packers at Cowboys. Let's get to some of your comments. And we don't have much time. As you know, the nightcap is coming here in a second. So I'm going to answer as many of these as we can. And I want to congratulate the Atlanta Falcons for winning this game. I told you this was not going to be close. And your boys went out and took care of business like they were supposed to. And now I'm anxious. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want Aaron Rodgers. You better hope the Cowboys win. I know you want a home playoff game, and you're thinking to yourself, we already beat the Green Bay Packers. Remember, you beat them at the very end. Matt had to take you down for a game-winning drive, and that was when Aaron Rodgers was still struggling, or at least struggling when everybody was still asking, what's going on with the Packers offense? They weren't even in sync then. Rodgers is hot, man. Like, flaming hot right now. You don't want any of A-Rod. I'm going to tell you right now, it'd be in your best interest to just go to Big D on the road and try to take those boys. I'm telling you, you've seen A-Rod in the playoffs before come in your house and disrespect your crib, man. You've seen this man do this before. I'm not going to go into the explicit details that I saw in the police report that was filed by the Falcons against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers the last time they came to your building. I'm not going to read the police report. It's very graphic and downright disrespectful. I'm not going to read it. But you already know. You already know. I don't have to tell you that you don't want to see AR-12. So if I'm a Falcons fan, and I'm not, and I know you want a home playoff game, be nice. Take your ass to Big D. Take my advice here. You do not want it with number 12. All right, let's get to these comments, man. Ofo, really, my man Ofo says, all my life, I felt containing mobile guys in the pocket was the key. Atlanta proved me wrong with outstanding pressure, offense, and MVP play. AFC going to have their handful in the Super Bowl. I agree. I thought that the pressure, I talked about Brooks Reed and Jonathan Babineau and company. I thought the pressure was outstanding the entire game. Matt Ryan played at an MVP-like level, and I thought that they did everything that they needed to do in this game to neutralize the Seattle Seahawks in every way imaginable outside of special teams. And they deserved to win this game, and they deserved to win it the way that they did, running away with this victory. Anthony Hibbert says, laughing my ass off to all the Seahawks fans. They got destroyed by Atlanta, but they were supposed to beat the Cowboys. We'll see what happens. I saw this one coming, so it doesn't surprise me. You know, they got away last week versus Detroit because Detroit just self-destructed in that game, and the officials gave them a nice big helping hand as we always seem to have in Seattle. But this wasn't in Seattle, and this wasn't the Detroit Lions. This was a different animal, and you saw that today. DG Production says, what did I tell you, Lou? Defense got better, and Matty Ice is the MVP. Called it. Dan Quinn is an amazing coach, and these birds came to play. Don't you agree? I absolutely agree with you wholeheartedly, my man. The defense was balling today. You did tell me that they were improving, and I agreed with you. I told you these young boys are getting better. How much better? We're going to find out next week, because it doesn't matter whomever you have. Whether it's Dallas in that run game or Aaron Rodgers in their passing attack, your defense is going to be tested. And yes, there were some opportunities missed in this game. Russell Wilson overshot Doug Baldwin at least twice, to my recollection, in this game. So let's not act like you didn't give up some stuff that they didn't take advantage of, but give credit where credit is due. The defense was outstanding in this football game. And just as much as the offense was good, you need to credit the defense for this blowout victory as well. DG Productions also says, I'm so glad that this is over with so people will shut up about Matt's playoff record. Well, if you really want them to shut up about Matt's playoff record, he needs to win next week too. Because if he loses next week, he's 2-5. They're still going to talk about it next time he gets to the playoffs. So you really want him to shut up, win next week, go to 3-4 in the playoffs, and then they'll shut up about that. Then he'll be in the Super Bowl, and then they won't be able to bring that up again, because now he's at least played in a championship game, a Super Bowl championship, that is. So that if you really want to shut up the naysayers and the detractors, that's the way to do it. Win again. Lion Fire says, another Thursday night blowout in the playoffs. Yawn. Well, this was actually entertaining for me. Sister was really hyped. I was hyped. So I actually enjoyed this game. But yes, it was another blowout. And I told you, both Saturday games are going to be blowouts. I told you this. I told you this in advance. I hope you don't think that the next game is going to be any good. Tom Brady is about to tell these boys a new asshole. Okay? So you already know. You already know. And I already told you what the playoffs is all about, man. If you scared, say you scared. All right? Scared money don't make money. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. Go get the money. And what did the Falcons go out and do? They went out and got the money, man. Money, 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 money. They went and got the money, man. It's all about getting the money in the playoffs. Those boys went and got handfuls of money in this game. Eagle Speed is a fag says, I doubted this team after the first drive thinking we were going to lose, man. I was wrong. I saw you on Twitter tripping, man, straight tripping. And I tweeted you and I said, bro, you joke? Really? Are we doing this? First drive? You sounded like my sister. Relax, man. RELAX. 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 I told my sister to relax. I said, go match their score with a score. They can't outscore you, man. They can't. And what did you do? You went and matched their score. Relax. Relax. Atlanta Fan for Life says, second half domination. Absolutely. That's exactly what it was. And it really was, after the first quarter, I thought it was Atlanta domination. I really did. Disco Jump Rope says, Louie, I feel like crying, homie. 3-year drought, and we are back to 1 win away. It's a great feeling, man. Celebrate! Like I told you before, man, it's a great feeling to be in this position. Nothing feels better than winning games in the postseason, man, and knowing that you got a legit shot. Like, you're not one of these teams that's a tough out. You're not one of these teams that's just showing up. Like, I don't know if I know Kansas City Chiefs fans probably think they got a shot. But really in the AFC, do you feel confident that Kansas City is going to beat Pittsburgh and New England? No, like, you really, as Falcons fans, you really feel like, man, we can win the whole damn thing. Why not, right? So my whole thing is, you should be excited, man. You should feel like this is our year. Why not us? Why not us? You got a shot. Bossaholic says, my boys out there trying to kill an MFer. Hey, look, man, they were going at it. I told you, you guys were the more physical football team. You guys went out and took it to them in this football game, and they didn't get it done. They didn't get it done at all. So, like I said, you guys took it to them, and they didn't have an answer. You simply went in, and you were the more aggressive and physical football team in this game, and it showed. You guys dominated them. You hit them in their mouth. They didn't want it. I mean, it started early when Ricardo Allen, who probably could have had an interception on a Doug Baldwin wheel route up the field in the end zone on a third down that ended up being the Seahawks field goal in the second possession of the game. He sent a message. Even though he didn't light him up, Doug Baldwin, head on a swivel, bro. Head on a swivel. He was coming over to dislodge the football. And Doug Baldwin knew it. So I just thought that the tone was set early. The Falcons came out to hit. Ricardo Allen lit up Russell Wilson on a scramble on a 3rd and 15, and he thought he was going to pick it up. Nah, no, you're not. I mean, this team was aggressive. There's another play out there with Devondre Campbell and Deion Jones and all. I want to say Ricardo Allen was in on that one too. Lit his ass up. Lit somebody up. Running back out of the backfield, receiver. Those boys were hitting, man. Darius Rain says, I thought I would never have the pleasure of saying this last year, but this pass rush is real. And that's always been the Achilles heel of this Falcons defense. It's like, damn, they can't get to. Even in 2012, when all you had was John Abraham and he got injured the last game of the regular season and he wasn't right for the playoffs, he never had a pass. Even Dwight Freeney's old ass was getting after Russell Wilson in this game, man. Y'all was sending them from everywhere and they were getting there, man. Dwight was getting there. Brooks was getting there. Jonathan Babineau was getting there. It was beautiful. Vic Beasley got in, made a nice play on a 3rd and 2, made a tackle for loss, forces a punt. The D-line was extraordinary in this game. Aiden Wynn says, did the D do good to you? Yes, they did in this game for the Falcons. Absolutely. Like I said, there were a couple of defensive breakdowns and some opportunities for Seattle to take advantage, but they didn't. DG Production says, well, geez, I didn't think you'd put the ass whooper label on us, but we deserve it after all the shit the media gives us. Oh, no. This game, the 30 to 20, 36 to 20 margin of victory is enough for it. But if not for the Devin Hester return, this was 36 to 13. This looked like the Giants and the Packers last week. I mean, if you don't give up the last touchdown, 38 to 13 in that game on Sunday last week, this would have been 36 to 13. I mean, what are we talking about here? This was definitely domination. DeMonte Borino says, why are the Seahawks fans saying that the refs won? Y'all mad or no? I don't know what the hell they're talking about. The refs had nothing to do with the outcome of this game. This was sheer dominance on the part of the Atlanta Falcons on the field. Like I said, they dominated with intensity and physicality on defense, relentlessness on defense, and on offense, they simply couldn't be stopped. There wasn't enough from the Seattle Seahawks to deter this Falcons offense, and they just went up and down the field. At one point in the game, they scored on 4 straight possessions, 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns. By my recollection and my account, that's 20 points straight right there. 20 straight points on those boys' skulls in this game to bust it wide open. Getting to some more of your comments. We're running out of time here, so I'll try to get, like I said, to as many of these as possible. And I'm sorry, I just refreshed my video. And, okay, never mind. I'm able to get to a lot of these comments. Hold on. So let me get back up here. I'm not going to get to all these comments. I'm telling you right now. My man Sean Mack says, I didn't see this ass whooping coming, bro. I did. I tried to warn you guys about it in advance. But, again, I'm just the guy that does this for a living. That's it. That's all. That's it. I mean, I'm going to be wrong, but then again, who isn't wrong? But I was definitive in this. I was definitive when I told you. I not only said this on my video, I made a Twitter live feed before the game started telling you again, reiterating, this is not going to be close. Okay? I saw this one coming from a mile away. Rivius Jones says, we balled. Defense played lights out. Indeed. I couldn't agree with you more. Anthony Hibbert says, as a Cowboys fan, of Zeke or Dak didn't get it. Yes, Matt Ryan, MVP. And I think it is going to Matt Ryan. DG Production says, Lou, I've been sick the past few days, but all of a sudden I feel a lot better. That's what a win could do for you in the playoffs, man. I hope you feel better first and foremost, but that's what a win in the playoffs could do for you, man. Take your spirits. That temperature was 102. Bring that thing down to 98.6, man. All of a sudden, man, you dancing in the rain. That's what a win in the playoffs could do for you. The Black l.a.b. says, what it do, Lou? I love to see Seattle lose. Woo, doggy, he says. LOL. You stupid, man. Weeble says, how do you feel about this defense after this game? You know we have 4 rookie starters. Absolutely. I thought they played exceptionally well, and I told you I expected them to get better as the season progressed. But, like I said, I'm not going to blow this overboard. I'm not going to go overboard. I'm not going to blow this out of proportion. There's some good teams coming your way next week. Whether it's Dallas or Green Bay, it doesn't matter. You're getting an elite something next week, whether it's a run game or a passing attack. I've seen this Falcons defense give up 200 on the ground. I've seen this Falcons defense give it up through the air and get shredded. So I know it can be done. So I'm not comfortable patting them on the back too much. This was a I patted the Seahawks offensive line on the back last week, and look what they did in this game. I'm not comfortable patting those guys on the back too much, but they do deserve credit for what they went out and did against a very active, mobile, and dangerous quarterback in Russell Wilson in this football game. Bossaholic says, every Super Bowl team had to get over some adversity. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. He's basically saying. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Falcons moving forward. Captain Spartan 04 says, all playoff games have been ass-whooping games. Yes. I don't know if I've had to put a score up yet. I think maybe the Texans game I did. I put up a real score for that one. That one wasn't as much of an ass-whooping. But yes, they've basically been ass-whoopings. Revius Jones says, can we beat Green Bay or Dallas? I think you can beat Dallas. I know you can beat Dallas. I'm not sure if you can beat Green Bay this time. You beat them in the regular season, so there's precedent set. Yes, you can. But I'm telling you, man, you don't want – if A-Rod goes into Dallas and beats the Cowboys, you don't want it with A-Rod, man. I'm just telling you, this boy is hot, man. This dude is on fire right now. Like, we were making jokes last week about the State Farm commercial on the program last week. I mean, it's that bad, man. Oh, man, they hot, man. You on fire. Call the fire department. Yo, Aaron Rodgers is on fire. Somebody should call the fire department. Hey, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. We talked about this last week. You don't want A-Rod, dude. You just don't. If I'm a Falcons fan, I am rooting my ass off for the Cowboys to win because I think that's your best opportunity. Because the Cowboys defense, and I know the Packers defense isn't good. Neither one of those defenses are great. I think the Cowboys defense might be a little bit better than the Packers defense. But if you get into a shootout, I don't think the Cowboys can keep pace with you. And I know they can score, but I think you can stop them from scoring a ton of points. I'm not sure about Aaron Rodgers, man. That man gets hot. It doesn't even matter who the hell he's throwing a football to. I mean, Geronimo Allison can get in your ass with Aaron Rodgers, okay? We bringing dudes off the practice squad and digging in your ass. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you got to deal with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. In any event, let's get a couple more of these. I'm going to knock down these last four that I'm staring at, and then we done. DG Production says, so these rookies, are they even rookies anymore? They have impressed the hell out of me, Lou. What do you think? At this point of the season, you go ask a coach right now, are they rookies? And they'll tell you no. Once you've played a full season, which they have, and now you're into the post, you're not a rookie anymore. We expect you to do things now. We expect you to go out, know the game plan, execute. We expect you to make smart plays on the football field. I think they tell you no, they're not rookies. These boys are balling. Deion Jones with a pick in this game on a great play there at the end. Jalen Collins stepping in once the injury to True happened, and you had to have somebody step up. Man, your young boys are playing ball, man. Devondre Campbell out there running around. I've been talking about Brian Poole and his contribution this year. You're getting guys to step up and play ball for you, man. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Vic Beasley leading the league in sacks. Nah, these young boys are balling. Rookie, second-year guys, they're all stepping up and making plays and having a contribution to this success right now. And that's what's going to be the difference for these guys. Bossaholic says, Dick Sherman hold the L. Yeah. They kept putting a pan shot on him. He looked sick, boy. He looked so distraught. Like, this is some bullshit. Weeble says, we did damage without Julio in the second half. Good idea to be safe with him. We all know he's a man. LOL. Absolutely. And it's all about next week now. At that point, you knew you had the game well in hand. No need to trot double ace back out there, man. Put that guy on the shelf. Let him start resting up and getting ready for next week because you're going to need him. Anthony Hibbert says, after we beat Green Bay, tomorrow we will have a good one against Atlanta on to Super Bowl 51. Hashtag finish the fight. That should be a dandy tomorrow. Green Bay and Dallas, that's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. I got to get out of here. You guys have a lot more comments. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of them. But this was a dominant performance by the Atlanta Falcons, man. They dominated on offense and on defense, which was surprising to me. I didn't expect the defense to be as good as they were in this game. They were active. They were aggressive. They were the tone setters in this game. They were the aggressors in this game, and I didn't expect that from them on that side of the football. And so really good performance. Really dominant performance. Rise up. And the Lord says you got to rise up. That's what the Falcons did in this game. 36-20 over the Seattle Seahawks. They're moving on to the NFC Championship Game. Well, they'll face the winner of the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys matchup tomorrow, 4:40 p.m. on Fox. For the Seattle Seahawks, it's been a disappointing season. Even the regular season wasn't all that great. They won a really marginal, at best, division, and they limped into the postseason. They got it done against Detroit last week, but they just weren't game enough this week. And so they go back to the drawing board, try to retool some things and see if they can't come back next season better than they were this season. That's going to do it for your man, Louie T. Remember, if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. Congratulations to the Atlanta Falcons for your victory, moving on one step closer to Super Bowl 51 in Houston. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at In the Lab Room. I'll be tweeting out in this second game as well, going live if I feel the need to. But this is going to be an ass whooping. I don't think I need to do much. And I'm on Facebook as well. Go ahead, take care of that. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. For all of you out there watching, all of you who commented, and I didn't get to you, again, sorry, but this next game is probably on as we speak. I got to get to that. So I'll see you guys a little bit later on. Halftime show of this next game. Patriots at home. Number 1 seed in the AFC taking on the number 4 seeded Houston Texans. I'll see you at halftime of that game. I'll be on Twitter. Tweet me. Have a good one. I'll see you a little bit later on. Congratulations again to the Atlanta Falcons. Rise up!
Broncos won the Super Bowl when Peyton Manning retired. 49ers won 5 games and Tom Sula got fired. RG's in Cleveland and my Rams hit the West Coast. Be sleepless in Seattle cause that 12 man ain't beast mode. Oh yeah, I knew it was something I